Hello, my friends. Sorry I had to put on a sweater because I stepped outside and got frostbite. It dropped down to like 72 degrees just now, and I put on a sweater. But here's what I want to tell you. This right here, I want to welcome to day number one of 30, to where we're going to be playing together in this journey over the next 30 days. I'm discovering who we really are, discovering how to level up in every single area, whether it's relationship, whether it's finances, or whether it's happiness, whether it's, our self-worth, or whatever you want to go do, we're going to be leveling up. I guarantee you. And so yesterday I threw out the crazy idea of us doing this whole journey together for 30 days. To where once a day, every single day, which is a lot. What I'm going to go and make a commitment to doing is coming in here live every single day for these next 30 days to come play with you. It's going to be at 7 o'clock California time. Hello, Mr. Hula. 7 o'clock California time. It's going to be 8 o'clock Mountain time, 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern, over in the UK, Australia, Thailand, over there. So we're going to come into your time. Let's just say your time to keep it simple. I know we're a little bit hour late, but we'll just blame Bentley. So come back. Here's the deal. I got a whole bunch of different messages from everybody, which is super awesome, on what different books that they wanted to go explore together. And but we can only have one book to where you and I are going to go learn and play and read and understand it, but not just understand it, actually apply it. Because there's so many people out there that say they know this stuff, but my question is, if you know this stuff, Mr. David, Tracy, Byron, if you know this stuff, my question is, are you applying it? And if you're not applying, you don't actually know it. And when I'm talking to you, I'm talking directly over to me. And as you guys are jumping on, if you're watching this thing live, drop a 1 down below. If you guys are watching a replay, drop a number 2. Tracy, Greg, if this is a replay, number 2. But, so I say this because I got all these different responses of all these different books coming in that you guys wanted to play together with. And the book we're going to be choosing, first of all, I honor everybody that sent in their book requests. Like, I honor, there were so many books I hadn't even heard of, by the way. But the book that was the overwhelming response that I just felt like we just had to do is this book that is written by this guy that has personally mentored not one, but 5 different billionaires with a B. And just to kind of show you the difference between a billionaire and a millionaire, there's like a big difference. If you were to count to 1 million seconds, guess how many days it would take you to count to 1 million? Tracy, Chris, Brian, Greg, count to 1 million, Mr. Van. How many days would it take you to count to 1 million? Take your time. Drop it down below. Twelve days to count to 1 million. And to contrast it with 1 billion, it would take you, guess how many days it would take you to count to 1 billion? Just to contrast the difference between a millionaire and a billionaire. 37 years. So whenever people say a millionaire and a billionaire, same ballpark, no, they're 2 completely different animals. And this guy we're going to be learning from has coached not 1, but 5 different billionaires. This guy we're going to be learning from has personally mentored not 1, but multiple different people known as our presidents of the United States of America. Hello, Miss Deb. Hello, Mr. Chris. This guy is voted pretty much the top leaders of leaders in every single different business magazine over the course of the last 40 something years. And this guy, does anyone know who this guy is? I'm just curious if anyone has picked up on a hint who this guy is. Drop the name down below if you know it, and we'll throw in a little bonus for you if you get it right in the next 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Tony! Mr. T. Robbins himself. And the book we're going to be playing in, the sandbox we're going to be playing is a sandbox called Awaken the Giant Within. How many of you guys have heard that book? Drop a 5 down below if you've heard that book. And while you're dropping your 5s, I want to see how many of you guys actually completed the book by dropping a 6 if you actually completed the book. Because I don't know if you've read this book yet, but there's like 5,000 different pages. And somehow we're going to get this whole thing done over the next 30 days. How? I don't know. You don't ask how, you just figure out like the what is. And the what is, we're going to finish this book together. So how it's going to work is every single day, just to repeat, Mr. Hula, Miss Rose, Miss Christy, Miss Crispinino Ogden, is every single day. At 7 o'clock California time, 8 o'clock Mountain time, XYZ the rest of the times, I'm coming on here live explaining a new chapter every single day. And if you want to, I encourage you to go read the chapter yourself. And then we can come in here and collaborate, go back and forth, and you can ask all your questions you want to ask. That's one way you could do it. Next way you could do it is if you don't want to go read. How many of you guys are not readers? Drop some flamey emojis below if you're not a reader. Used to be me, but now I'm addicted. But if you don't want to read, that's totally cool too. Just show up here and I'll condense the chapter. I'll condense it from 5,000 pages down to about a 10-minute live. And any questions you have, just post it on here. Whether you're watching it live or whether you're watching replay, just post it. And at the very end, I'll go and answer every single one of the questions. At least, I'm not saying it's going to be the right answer, but it's going to be Sherry Hollenbach's answer. And if I'm on replay, I'll come back and go answer them. But again, I've never done this before. I've done this to a small group, to my niche, my people, my tribe. And I've also done it one-on-one with a whole bunch of different clients, but I've never done it open, just for free. But for some reason, I was just feeling really playful. I wanted to come play it with everybody. Hello, Mr. Justin. As you're popping in, say hey. Say hey, hey, hey. Okay, here we go. Cut to the chase. Chapter number 1 is what we're covering tonight. And what chapter number 1 is, it talks about all these people. There's a ton of people in our society that like to go dabble, right? The quote saying, I'm a jack of lots of trades, but a master of none. So there's all these people that go out there and dabble, and I know what dabbling yields. That's why 95% of the world are broke at age 65. That's why there's so many people on Prozac today. I know what happens when you dabble in life. But what I really want to know, what this book really wants to discover, is what is the difference between those people that dabble and those people that master? What's the difference between those people that are in these relationships that are so juicy? Hi, Russ. Hi, Marie. Hi, Marie. Hi, Renee. What's the difference between those people that have these relationships that are so juicy, so in-depth, they're so passionate? Not for a week, but we're talking decade after decade. 50 years later, they're still chasing each other around the kitchen. Like obsessed, legit obsessed. What's the difference between them and those people that are just living together because of the kids? Just as roommates. Because it's convenient to help pay the bills. Like, what's the difference? What's the difference between those people that are living paycheck to paycheck on the verge of bankruptcy? Not just their generation, but generations before them. Versus those people that have created an automatic income that has set not just themselves, but future generations to come. What's the difference between those two contrasting stories? What's the difference between those people that are just so juicy and so excited and so happy with their life? Not because anything has to happen. That's just how they wake up naturally. Versus those people that are in generation after generation after generation in a prison system. I used to work at the sheriff's office. I know these people, and they are constantly in this phase of depression. What's the difference? Haven't you guys ever wondered what the difference is? Smash the heart button below if you guys want to know what the difference is, because I've been obsessed with finding out what that difference in this chapter 1 starts telling us what the difference is. And it comes down to 3 things. The 3 things that makes it different between those people that have a life as a warning on what not to do. Miss Marilyn, Mr. Bill, drop it, hey, as you guys are coming in. I want to say hey after we get done. I want to talk to you. I want to learn who I'm playing with. But what's the difference between those people that have a life as a warning on what not to do and those people that have a life as an example on what to do? What's those difference? And how do I close the gap? And we're going to close the gap 3 ways. Number 1, he talks about. Number 1 is you got to raise your standards on what you will and won't accept in your life. What emotions you will and will not allow you in your life. What stories you will or will not allow to be yourself to believe. What people you will or will not allow in your life. What situations, what type, what will you allow? Raise your standards. What will you allow your body to be? Raise your standards. What will you allow your financial conditions to be? Raise your standards. What will you allow your relationships to be? Mr. Christopher Kroll, Miss Patty England, Paula Martinez, drop a hey as you're coming in. I just want to say hi. But what are the raise your standards is number 1. So write this down. So number 1 is raise your standards. Are you guys following? Number 2, you got to change your limiting beliefs. See, all of us have beliefs. All of us, we got beliefs. Some serve us, don't serve us. But the true thing about the beliefs is beliefs will dictate what you do and don't do. Because beliefs tell you what is possible, what's not possible. This sounds so elementary, and I apologize if you feel like this is really simplistic for you, but my question is, if you know this, if it's so simplistic, are you doing it? Are you doing it? And when I teach you, I'm teaching myself this exact same thing. If you ever hear me being super passionate about something, Bob, Darla, Patty, is because I'm passionate about it, because I can only teach it if I'm willing to live up to that standard. Because I can't just teach something if I'm not willing to make myself live up at that same standard. Is that following? Hashtag follow if you guys are following. I gotta make sure. Are we still here? Hit that heart button, because I just love seeing heart buttons. It makes me happy. Okay, change your limiting beliefs. How do you get rid of these beliefs that have trashed you, that have trashed your results, that have held you back for not a week, but for generations? How do you empower yourself, and how do you inject beliefs that can skyrocket you to the next level? How? Okay, so change your limiting beliefs, number 2. And the third one you're gonna wanna do, look at those hearts. I love those hearts. Thank you, Miss Tiffany, Libby, Brian, Luis. Number 3. Are you ready for number 3? Okay, I'll tell you number 3. Number 3 is to change your strategy. If you want different results, you got to take different action. And the question is, do you want to take action from your, okay, let me rephrase this. What is the slowest way to learn? Anybody know? Drop it down. What's the slowest way? Scream it to the screen. Not for me, I can't even hear you, but scream it to the screen for you, just to get into your DNA. What is the slowest way to learn? Come on, Facebook, catch up. Nailed it. By your own mistakes, by your own path, by being the first trailblazer, by being out the guy, that very first Indian chief that heads out. The problem is people don't see all the arrows in his back because he was the first guy to go make all the mistakes. That's the way to make the longest. Good job, Brian. Good job, Marilyn. Good job, Greg. You got it. The slowest way to learn is to go figure it out yourself. Okay, the fastest way to learn is find somebody that was like you, that has the results that you want, and is sustaining those results. So find somebody like you that has the result you want, and then the last part is just do what they did, modeling. So step number 3 is just change your strategy. Simple, super simple. So what areas in life are we gonna be doing this in? Here's where we're bringing chapter 1 home for you. By the way, I just condensed like 50 pages into these few minutes, so you're welcome there. But what's the 5 areas we're gonna be doing this in? I took notes right here. So bring your notes with you to these sessions, our playground sessions together. But number 1 is emotional mastery. Oh my gosh. Emotional mastery. And if you guys can write this down, write this down, Tracy, write this down, Van, write this down, Tiffany, write this down. Are you ready? I'm just waiting for you to get the pen. Sorry, sometimes I think I'm funny, I'm just not. Your quality of life equals your quality of consistent emotions. Your quality of life equals your quality of consistent emotions. Powerful. See, so many of us are trying to figure out how can we change our emotions because the slightest thing changes and all of a sudden we're pissed off. We can be super happy driving down the road and then somebody cuts us off and all of a sudden we're like stage 17 temper right now. We could be in the happiest mood ever and then our spouse comes over and looks at us wrong, or somebody at work looks at us wrong, and all of a sudden we're like super paranoid and we're all friction inside. Like, what the heck? What are these things inside is called emotion, and how do you master them? Well, that's what we're going to be learning. And to show you how big of an industry this is right now, 50% of all cocaine is purchased in the United States of America. Who's proud of that? Who's proud of that? 50%. Because people are trying to figure out how to change their emotions. The other thing is over 500 million. Do we got any doctors on here? Do we got any medical field representing? If you do, drop a 7. If we got any doctors. Plug your ears, because I'm not sure if this is a relevant fact today, because it might be way up, but last reported, as it states in the book, is over $500 million a year is spent on dispersing Prozac. People need to change their emotions. So the first area in life we're going to do is mastering emotional mastery. Second area, here we go, physical mastery. Physical mastery of your body. The way you're living, and I'm asking you this right now, is the way you're living right now yielding you to be a statistic? Is the way you are living right now yielding you to become a statistics? Don't even let me go into all the different disease happening, all the different body failure parts. But the way you live, is it building you up to become a statistics? One of my favorite quotes is in the book. It talks about our society nowadays is using our teeth to dig our grave. Nothing today. I'm telling you about it 5 years ago, maybe even less than that. I used to be a steak a day. I like, who cares? Like McDonald's, it's okay. But the problem is whenever you're younger, your 19s, your 20s, you can do whatever and you got this good momentum. But the problem is you start hitting 30s. Hello, I just hit 30. One. But you start hitting the momentum starts to catch up with you. And all of a sudden, things start slowing down and the bad momentum starts to take place over and over, and I just start to age. Anyway, my point is nothing tastes as good as energy feels, period. So we're going to do our physical body mastery, how to get addicted to doing that. The third thing, let me bring it home to you, is relationship mastery. How do you change from being just roommates? How do you change from having this estranged relationship with your family? How do you change from being paranoid to get into relationships because guys suck, because girls suck? How do you change that? How do you change it? Well, number one is we're going to teach you how to change the relationship with yourself first. How to learn how to love yourself. Drop a heart. I need some more hearts here. Come on. I'm condensing this for you. Drop some hearts if you'd like to learn how to love yourself first. And then stage 2 is we'll figure out how to figure out this whole relationship game over here. Okay, number 4. Number 4 is going to be your financial mastery. How to change your financial game, whether you're starting out with $0 or $500 or $500,000. We'll teach you how to change your financial game through these next 30 days. And then the fifth thing, good job, look at those hearts. And the fifth thing is going to be time mastery, learning how to manipulate time to our favor. If you would like that, say a heck yes down below if you'd like to do any one of those 5 areas of mastery. Because here's this, let me close out with this quote. Before I close with the quote, I want to tell you something that was super impactful for me as I read this chapter. Is I'm not looking on here, Renee, Marilyn, Tiffany, Renee, Tracy, everybody. I'm not looking on here to make you feel good. I'm not looking for here to give you like a little bit of a boost for like a couple days. I'm not looking for here to make you smile. What I'm looking, although I like all of those things, don't get me wrong. But what I'm looking to do in these next 30 days is completely take this event and use it to completely pivot the entire trajectory of your life. To completely pivot the complete trajectory of your life. And one thing I know is this. Here's what I want to tell you. Oh, man. There's so much I want to tell you in this chapter. But here's what I want to tell you. This might sound like I'm like making this sound like a really, really big deal. But for those that was on the live yesterday or 2 days ago, how many of you guys were on the live that I talked about words? Drop a smiley face down below if you were on the Facebook live. I talked about words, how you can just change one word and completely interrupt your emotional pattern, change one word and completely change your experience, change one word and defuse a situation or inject life into a situation. How many of you guys, drop a smiley face down below if you guys had seen that live I just did the other day. And to prove this home for just those people that are just a little bit skeptical, like maybe I was at the beginning, is what I want to go and ask you is this. On a regular day, just think about today. Or think about the last 7 days. Good job, Vicky. Good job, Marilyn. Good job. Patrice, Irene, everybody. On a regular day, if you're not going to feel very good, what's your default language? Do you default to saying, if you were to list out your emotions for a solid week, and there's going to be some bad emotions in there if you're a traditional human, like I'm a traditional human. Bentley is a traditional human. Okay, in a traditional week, you're going to have some bad emotions in there. So drop down below, just for those people that don't necessarily, they need caught up with where we're at right now, drop down what are some bad emotions you go through in a 7-day period. Hello, Miss Holly. Hello, Kalia. Hello, Mr. Steven. Long time no see, Steven. Drop down some bad emotions that you feel throughout the week. Awful. Sad. Irate is the one I use in my example. Grumpy. Tired, fatigue, depressed, fearful, scared, nervous, anxious, depressed. Anybody relating on that? I'm just curious. Drop a 1 if you can relate on any one of those emotions, and I'm dropping a 1 because I can. So what happens? Good job. Now Facebook is bringing all these up. Good job. We got the stress. We got the frustrated. Thank you so much. Weak reject. You got it, girls and guys. But so now what I want you to go ahead and do, so my word I did last time was every time my bad emotion would go to irate. And so what I talked about is whenever things would just kind of irritate me just a little bit, they wouldn't warrant the emotion of irateness. I would use the word irate, and all of a sudden I became enraged and irate. I should have just been like irritated, but because I used the word irate, good job, look at that. Because I used the word irate, that became my experience. So words become your experience. Write that down. Actually get a tattoo of that. So what I want you to go ahead and do now, if you haven't done this yet, is I want you to go ahead and to interrupt your pattern and just to prove this point that one word can change your entire experience, is I want you to change that word to something else. Something else that whenever you feel like I want to say weak, I want to feel rejected, I want to say I'm disappointed, I want to say I'm discouraged, I want to say I'm tired, you have to change the word and say something else. My example was I would detour to irate. And so to interrupt my pattern, every single time I'd start to say, I'm so irate, I would stop myself and say, I'm so tinkled. Like I can't even say it now without even laughing. And so what would happen is I would force myself, just as like a test subject to prove it maybe didn't even work. And I found that it did work. How many of you guys have been there? I'm just curious if you've been there before. So I did just to prove if it would actually work, and it turns out it would work. Every single time I'd go to irateness, I would say, I'm so tinkled, and I'd start laughing, and I couldn't feel irate, and within 72 hours, I have not went back to that emotion. It's been, 5, 6, 7 months. Okay, so I want you now to drop down a word that you can use in replacement to maybe help everybody else that's going to be watching this call think about some funny words you could use. So mine was tinkled. What's your word that you're going to use for these next 7 days to interrupt your pattern? By the way, this is homework number 1 we're going to be doing from this chapter. Brian says poppycock. We got fluffy. We got Twitter-pated. We got perpetuated. We got flabbergasted. Mine is tinkled, but drop down what is your word that you want to use for these next 7 days. So the second you go to your default bad emotion, I'm tired, I'm fatigued, I'm depressed, I'm angry, what is the word you're going to use instead? Drop it down below. And this right here is just one of the many principles and tools that actually work. These tools are used by this guy that teaches like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different billionaires. These tools are used by this guy that has personally mentored not one but multiple presidents. These tools are used by this dude that's been like #1 in all these different business magazines, right? These tools are used by me. I can't tell you, I'm so passionate because I've used these tools. So this is your homework number 1. Recognize what is the bad emotion you default to that you verbally say. And for these next 7 days, what I want you to go ahead and do, lavender lollipop, Skittles. Good job, you guys. I want you to use that word instead for these next 7 days. Who's in with me? Drop a 4 down below if you're in with me. I want to know. 7-day challenge. You go to your bad language. You're going to interject a different word like smurfific. That would interrupt somebody's pattern. Okay, for these next 7 days, that's your homework number 1. Okay, bring it back home. Here's a closing statement. Hello, Mr. JP and Laquita for joining the party. The closing statement is this. You got a phobia? You want to change up a relationship? You want to change your financial gain? You want to change anything in your life? Like actually legit get changes? Get ready to hang on. Because in closing, this is the closing quote. Life is a gift. It offers us the privilege, the opportunity, and the responsibility to give something back by becoming more. So welcome to the journey, you guys. All right, so we're going to be doing chapter 2 tomorrow. And I just want to welcome you guys to come play with us over these next 30 days. Chapter 2 is going to be tomorrow. I'll be on here at 7 p.m. California time, 8 p.m. Mountain time. And look at all these 4, you guys. You guys are all in. If you guys are in, drop your 4s down below. You guys got any questions, post them here. And we'll get them answered between now and tomorrow. Let me scroll through and see if anybody's got any questions so far. Oh my gosh, there's so many comments. Good job, you guys. Oh my gosh, there's so many. All right. I'll come back. Oh, you guys, it's just, we don't got no questions here. Okay, cool. All right, well, I will see you guys tomorrow. And can you do me a favor? Can you do me just one favor? Remember, homework is for these next 7 days. Change up that word. But my favor is this. Can you have the best night of your life thus far until tomorrow? Can you do that? All right, good night, you guys. Have an amazing night.